After Hours.
On this episode of the History of the Chorus After Hours podcast, we discuss the Italian symphonic metal band known as Fleshgod Apocalypse. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at IsSurvivedByPro for news and latest episode postings. And make sure to subscribe to the show, leave us a 5-star review, and write us a comment on YouTube or whatever podcast service you're using. And if you'd like to see us do some live streams, leave us a comment or tweet us the keyword stream. Now, without further ado, let's start the show.
The devil is in Atlanta. Army surrounded.
Welcome back to the History of the Chorus After Hours podcast, where each and every episode I, Curtis, sit down with my good friend and avid listener to the History of the Chorus podcast, Erik. Hi, Erik. How's it going?
Hi. Hi.
Hi, my name, Curtis. My name. What's going on, buddy?
Life goes on.
Life, man. Another day, another dollar.
Why does every day cost $250?
Oh, it's so expensive. Another day,
Just living.
Another band in Erik's spotlight. That's right. We're bringing it back. Erik, what band are you putting in the spotlight today?
Today I've got for you one known as Aether Realm.
Ooh.
So I don't know if I've ever put it out there what my kind of curriculum or what my criteria is for picking these.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for bands typically under 100,000 or right about their monthly listeners on Spotify. So relatively small bands. I might go a little over 100,000 here and there to spotlight one maybe I saw at a concert, but something like that, something generally in the cores, stuff like that. So if you're out there, say in YouTube land watching this and you have a band that you absolutely love and want me to spotlight, throw it in the comments. Maybe I'll do it. Give it a shot. Couldn't hurt, right?
Won't hurt.
So anyway, I won't hurt you.
I know.
Might hurt your feelings. But anyhow, so Mr. Aether Realm here. They are a four-piece hailing from Greenville, North Carolina. Started way back in 2010.
See, and that's stop right there, because that's when you sent me that band name. I was like, sounds like something from overseas. And then I looked them up on Spotify first, and the way that they spell it, it's the A and the E are connected. And I'm like, okay, this is a band from overseas. Yeah, not hating when I say that. But I was like, okay, this is a band from overseas. So I wikied them real quick. And I was like, Greenville, North Carolina? That's not overseas. What's happening here, man? And I honestly questioned, I was like, am I looking at the wrong band? Or, is there two bands with that name? What's happening? No, it's the band. So that threw me for a loop at the beginning there. But anyway, carry on.
It plays into their nerdism, and I'll talk about that a little bit in a minute.
Okay.
So they are heavy-ish metal, the lighter end of melodic deathcore or death metal. Folk metal is definitely one I would include.
Yes.
They are on Napalm Records. When I did see this band, and I believe even back then they were on Napalm. Seen them in 2021 with Unleash the Archers. The first one after COVID. That holds a special place in my heart.
Yeah, is Napalm Records the one that has Hoobastank on it? Is that the
yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's still so weird to me, man.
I was re-listening to this original episode for Fleshgod, and I was like, hey, he's talking about Napalm on here. I'm going to bring on this one. So
nice. I think it works too, because they've got some symphonic stuff going on too at times. So that kind of works with Fleshgod.
A little bit.
So.
Yep. So they did put on a great show live. Not this was not a moshing crowd. This was again right after COVID kind of washed over the country and everything. So we were kind of standing not shoulder to shoulder. We were a little bit further apart than say a normal crowd.
Distance.
Wasn't no 6 feet, I can tell you that, but we weren't touching one another either.
Were you wearing masks?
But heck no.
Oh, I need
but
to
I
report
digress.
y'all, man.
You better.
Mask mandate.
But let's see. I could imagine they would be a great band to mosh to, though. Getting back to that thought,
Yeah.
they were high energy and a lot of fun. He made a bet. The lead singer made a bet with the crowd to go get some merch if his sunglasses stayed on through the entire show.
Nice.
And he was headbanging, swinging his hair, doing the death
the
metal
windmill or
circle
whatever.
thing.
Yeah.
Yep. And at some point, I realized, hey, he cheated us. He had sunglasses, but they had a string
Oh,
around the back
man.
of his head.
Nice.
And I was like, you are a cheat. But
Did you call him
I'm
out?
here
You said,
for it.
cheater! Cheater! And then we rushed the stage and we beat the crap out of no. Anyway.
But this, again, being 2021, I think they were having problems getting merch. So we went over and looked at the merch table, and it's pretty picked through by the time we got there. And what he had left sitting there on the table was a signed disc golf disc. So
Nice.
something like this. Not
Oh
that one
my
specifically.
gosh.
But
I was supposed to say, wait, was that his signature? Because that thing was smudgy.
yeah, that was totally him. No.
I was like, oh my gosh. Oh, that's not it.
No, he had like another one was like a signed Yu-Gi-Oh card or something. Like it wasn't even Pokemon. I think it was like Yu-Gi-Oh actually.
Random stuff,
Um,
yeah.
Literally had a banana. It looked fresh.
Nice.
And he had other odds and ends bits that they actually had made because they were having a hard time getting stuff. So they were literally making keychains and stuff
Wow.
just to get merch out on the table because they're
Man.
on tour in 2021. I can't
Yeah, I
imagine
got to
trying
sell
to get
something. Yeah. Wow.
because your big ticket's going to be your t-shirts, your stickers, stuff like that. And if they can't get your t-shirts and your posters and your stickers, what am I going to sell? I better make something. So I
Right.
really enjoyed that they were still able to do something like that. They're out there giving it the go. But anyway, definitely a fun group. They have a pretty decent sound, in my opinion, especially live. They were really good. They do have those death metal-y sounds. It's not like the death metal you think of, like the newer death metals out there, with the really deep, the vocals that make demons' blood curdle.
Gurgles.
It's not quite in that. Yeah. The gutturals and all that. It's not quite there, but and it also has some nerdy themes in it, which is fun, some fantasy and mythology type stuff. So, go out there and give them a shot. What do you heard about them? What'd you think?
I listened to their, what was that, 2017? Yeah, I listened to part of, probably about halfway through. I would say over halfway through because there's only 12 songs. I mean, it's an hour and 19 minutes. And I was, like I said to you earlier, I was doing something while I was listening to it and I got done with that something and before the album was even over. So it was like, all right, I'm moving on now. And it was kind of one of those, was like, I think I got enough information here of, what I'm listening to. One thing that stood out to me was his vocals almost make me think of Dan from Zayo, kind of that high, kind of gurglish. I'm trying to remember how they described it on the Zayo episode, that razor blade gurgle or so. It was just kind of interesting that I'm not saying it's, tick for tat, but it made me think of that. And overall, this is not a band that I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. It's not really up my alley. But the little bit that I did hear was like, okay, yeah, this is pretty good. I thought when I was listening to the first song on that album, The Fool, I really thought we were going in a certain direction, and then it felt like it kind of went not really the opposite, but it kind of turned a couple of degrees maybe. And I was like, okay, we're going this way then, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. But it is an interesting band. I would probably check out obviously the rest of that album and then probably like another one. Is Tarot the one you would probably recommend to a new person?
Probably so. It is a long album. Their albums do tend to be long. Their top song, I think, as I was looking at this, "The Sun, the Moon, the Stars," is nearly 20 minutes long by itself.
4 million
But
views, man, just on that song.
yeah,
So
so yeah, I mean, it's well worth a listen.
now, if you listen to all of their albums, they have what, three full lengths?
3 of them, yeah.
Yeah,
Everything from
three full
Tarot on
lengths.
for sure I've listened to.
Okay.
Before
Looks
Tarot,
like
that's before I seen them. So
I was about to say, it looks like they got one full length album before Tarot, and it was 2013, one chosen by the gods. Clocking in at 42 minutes and 9 seconds, our shortest album to
hey,
date.
that's a short one.
Oh my gosh, their intro song on that album is 2 minutes and 10 seconds. What the heck is happening?
Oh,
What is this? Touche Amore or Aether Realm? Who am I listening
Porque no
to
los
here?
dos.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's interesting. Like I said, I would listen to the rest of that album and then check out maybe like their newest one, Redneck Vikings from Hell. But I'm with you. I can hear the fantasy kind of mythology stuff going on lyrically. Um, and then kind of like what I mentioned just a little bit ago too. There's some symphonic stuff happening here and there. Not full-fledged like what we get with the band that we're about to talk about in Fleshgod
Right,
Apocalypse, especially later on in their discography, but um,
right.
you can definitely tell there's some stuff there too. So it is pretty interesting. And heck, I mean they're on the same record label as Hoobastank, so why wouldn't you give them a shot,
Hey,
bro? It's still
absolutely.
one of the funniest things I've ever found out, man. Oh boy. Alrighty. Check them out. Aether Realm. Is that how you're saying it?
Hmm.
How did they say
Aether
it? Is
Realm.
that how they said it?
I'm pretty sure that's how they said it was
Okay.
Aether Realm.
Okay. Alrighty. Check them out on Spotify or wherever you get your music listening in on at. All right, Eric. Today we are talking about the band known as Fleshgod Apocalypse. I think I know the answer to this first question, but how are you introduced to Fleshgod Apocalypse?
Pretty sure it was either one of you guys or History of the Cores podcast originally. I may have heard the name somewhere before, but if I had, I didn't follow up on it.
Yeah,
I hear
I
a lot
was
of names of a lot of bands, and I can't follow up on every one of them.
right, right. You get to the point like me where it's like, wait, have I heard that band name before? Or am I
And
just
then you go
telling
click on them and you
myself
go,
now?
huh, is that this
Huh.
band or did I listen to another one like them? I don't
Right,
know.
exactly. Yeah, this one I definitely got from Josh. I had not known them until probably about a year ago. And he was like, you should listen to this. Da, 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 da. Not really up my alley. There was some
Right.
good stuff on it, but it's not my cup of tea. Um, you've listened to the whole discography now, right, Eric? Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes.
So how
I'm
would
not sure
you
if I caught every
describe,
one of the little, singles or anything, but that's the way it goes.
right? How would you describe Flesh God Apocalypse to a brand new listener?
This varies a little bit because they do have kind of your figure it out album, but as a whole, you've got your symphonic death metals. I would even throw in some pagan metal because of the themes.
Okay.
Um, the symphonic sound mixing kind of gives me power metal feels at times.
Okay.
Definitely not in the vocals, but in the instrumentation of it anyway.
Yeah, I was about to say, no, I don't, yeah,
Not in the vocals.
you said that to me, I think last week or the week before, and I was like, yeah, I mean, I guess musically kind of, I was like, not so much vocally though.
Like I said, it's that the sound mixing between the symphonic and the typical 4-piece band type. It's that mix and kind of gives me that. It's what a lot of your power metal bands are trying to do, but they're
Gotcha.
doing it and doing it really well, and then throwing your death metal vocals on top of it.
Right. Have you seen like any music videos or live stuff of these guys?
I have not.
Yeah, I just remember Josh talking about his experience of seeing them for the first time. Didn't know who
Yeah.
they were, and just that whole deal of these guys are coming up on stage, they're full costumes, all looking like each other. Um, and then even the whole deal of like the setup, the sound check just taking forever, to the point that the crowd's starting to turn on you. Um, but it was like you said, it was in the end, you understood why it took them so long because it came off great the way that they performed live with that sound check and everything. So, yeah, the use of symphonic instruments is obvious.
Mm.
Throughout their discography, not so much kind of on Oracles. There's some stuff here and there, but it's Oracles is definitely kind of a figure it out album. They're still trying to figure out, okay, who's going to do what, because even the guy who does vocals on Oracles, he doesn't do vocals. Well, he's not lead vocalist again until like I think it's Villano. I think it's Villano. I
Villano?
think he does Villano. It's either that one or he's the new vocalist now, or the lead vocalist now after that album. I can't remember off the top of my head. But anyway, there's some different things that it's like you're obviously trying to figure it out. Um,
Yep.
so I feel like with that one, you're kind of showcasing more of a straight up death metal. Again, with the limited use of symphonic stuff
Right.
here and there.
I'd almost put in there, at least for the first album, especially, is that technical death metal too.
Okay,
That
yeah.
music's very technical, and you get into the drums and what he's doing, it's all very technical.
Right.
So, especially if you're including that first album, they do still carry that over for sure.
Right.
But that first album carries more of that technical feel than later albums do.
Right.
Just because the more symphonic kind of outweighs the technical of it, I think.
Yes. Yeah, I think you're right. Honestly, anybody can really throw an orchestra, into their music and call it a day. But I feel like with Fleshgod, they've done a really good job of integrating those two worlds together into one. With each passing album, they get better and better, it feels like. And it really ultimately takes them to a new level. So talk to me, Eric, about what you're hearing in the clashing of those two worlds of the technical slash death metal and the orchestral world.
Is it a clash or is it a marriage?
The marriage, I should say marriage, yeah.
It is
The
brought
blending,
together.
the fluid binding, and snakes.
Ah.
Oh,
So I really think it works. They've done a great job of it. Many bands include some sound bites or overlays, of some sort of orchestral bits and pieces here and there. Talking about my favorite band member of so many of these bands is Mr. MacBook Pro. Here's pretty cool.
I want to see that. I want to see that in wiki member lineups from now on. If somebody's overusing a MacBook Pro, it needs to be in your lineup list. Oh man.
You don't have a keyboardist, but you're using those sounds. MacBook Pro. I need to see it now.
MacBook Pro.
I'll be on Wikipedia if y'all need me. I need to.
I need to type some stuff up here real quick.
Yep. Gonna mess all this up.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is definitely another level of that, though. They actually blend it in. It's kind of like reminds me of Metallica had that S&M project that they did with that orchestra.
Yeah.
Or symphony. Excuse me. I'm sure that's different, and I don't know the difference.
Symphony's like the blending of like orchestral stuff and with like, your trombones, trumpets, and stuff like that, isn't it?
I don't know.
I think it's supposed to be a blending.
Enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Welcome to the History of the Chorus After Hours podcast. We're just two dumb dudes who don't know what we're talking about.
We have no culture.
We have no culture.
So, anyway, overall, the band concept, it's not just the concept; it's a constant. There we go. Man, it's hard to talk today.
Yeah,
but words are hard. But You take that for your next soundbite. So
Yeah.
it is a overall constant rather than just a concept or just a small little bit like it was for, S&M with Metallica.
Right.
As a whole, musically, it definitely works. I'd say 110% it works. The only thing that may feel like even a clash to me or for some people would be the death metal style vocals overlaying the orchestral sound. But, for those folks, I say, think of it as a heavy opera.
Let's just say, even
Those
at
guys
that,
on the opera stage, some of those guys are absolutely, hollering up there on stage. So it kind of think of it like a heavy opera. You're on an opera
yeah.
and you're talking about some of these themes that Fleshgod talks about, like with King behind you there, all the stuff that goes into that album. This is a pretty heavy deal.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Some weight to it. Yeah. Yeah. And they always seem to end with kind of a somber orchestral piano track. So I think that's, again, that's kind of going back to the marriage there. So they
the
make it
palate
work, man.
cleanser at the end.
Yes, there you go. Yep. Um, when studying the vocals in this band, it becomes evident.
Yes.
Yes, vocals, eh? Becomes evident that it's collective effort. Josh has talked about that a lot of times. It's one of the things that he's liked about this band. That it's a lot of different members doing the vocals together, whether it's unclean, clean, whatever. Describe to me that style that you're hearing in the music vocally across the board, clean and unclean, dirty and clean. Couldn't think of another word for clean.
I was going to say washed out, but that's probably not good. But anyway,
Yeah, no.
definitely not in this band. It is hard to tell for me what's going on at times. It's not total chaos like some bands we've talked about. It's not, chariot type chaos. You're not,
Nobody's the chariot.
I kind of thought it was more like two people, at any given song kind of going with it and then maybe overlaying your voice kind of thing. But with y'all talking on the original episode of actually what's going on, it goes, oh, kind of that makes more sense.
Light bulb.
There's, oh yeah, a little light bulb.
Man, I wish there was a light bulb
up there, huh?
thing on here, man. Yeah.
I bet there is somewhere.
There's not. I
But,
wish there was. I'm surprised there's not one on here. But anyway.
So it definitely does make a oh, woohoo! It's a pizza hat.
Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
It definitely does make a difference in the overall sound. It is brutal and it doesn't fall off, with any of the style of vocals that kind of come into play with this. And they do play with several different styles, whether it be your operatic sounds, literal death metal, from the gut type stuff, or, everything in between. And they do kind of play with a lot of stuff in between. And like I said, it doesn't detract from the music at all. It actually adds to it, in my opinion. I'm with Josh on the whatever's going on with vocals. I don't know that I can describe it all. I'm here for it. It's been good stuff.
So let me ask you this then, vocally. The cleans, that kind of falsetto. Do you like that?
I don't hate it.
Okay.
Because again, I don't know if you've ever been to, say, an opera or something like that. There are times where they do that.
Right. Yeah.
So depending on the story of the opera, depending on what's going on in, say, the overall overarching play, they might actually do something like that.
Yeah.
Is it every single opera ever? No. But I think Josh even mentioned it takes a whole lot of time, effort, talent to learn how to
sure.
do that.
Yeah. There's talent.
And
It's
to not
not
break.
just doing it. Yeah.
Right.
For
'Cause
sure.
if you do it wrong, and your voice is going to break every time.
Right. I respect the artist, but it really, when it first heard
It's
it,
not
it
for
really
everybody, and I know that.
Yeah, it really caught me off guard. I was like, oh, I was like, But like I said, I respect the fact that yes, it's not just like step up to the mic and do it. It's, I mean, it's some training. And that's what I
Oh
feel
yeah.
like this band overall is. It's again, you go back to the story of Josh seeing him for the first time. I mean, they're not just getting up there and just winging it. We're doing this to the best of our abilities, you know. And so if that means we got to go through some training stuff, we're gonna do it. And I respect that. But the falsetto cleans, it's not for me personally. So, but I like I said, I get it, but yeah, not for me personally.
I think it
Um,
pretty much works,
okay. I mean,
but
yeah, I think for what
that
they're
is up for
doing,
personal interpretation.
right? I think for what they're doing and the style they're going, yeah, I think it works because again, it's like you're kind of blending some that opera with the death metal into a death metal opera, you know, or whatever. But so it works with what they're doing. It just kind of was like, I don't personally, I just personally didn't like it. So I was like, bring back the unclean guy or the lady, bring in the lady. Yeah, that's, I mean, that's really all we have for, there's really not a whole lot of like history to the band. It's a lot of consistent, you know, every 2 years we're putting out an album, putting out an album, putting out an album, obviously until COVID hit, um, but but I don't know if you've seen it, but they are releasing a new album here pretty soon, entitled Opera. How fitting. Actually, I did see something kind of cool. One of the pre-orders for it was on vinyl, and the vinyl disc was the Italian flag. That was pretty cool, actually.
Huh.
Yeah. So I'll be kind of interested to see what they do with that
You want to get
album.
you a first pressing of that?
No, I'm not. Um,
Ah,
just wait till it comes out on Spotify. No, I one of the things with this band, I feel like how much further can you really go with what you're doing? And I don't mean that in like a bad way. You know, I know we've talked about before. We talked about in the last episode of a band dragging a dead horse well past its, you know, grave, basically. Um, but I just kind of wonder sometimes like it's a good discography, but how much more can you put out before you really just start losing people because it just kind of ends up being the same thing, you know? I kind of almost think of like the next band that we're gonna talk about, or one of the next bands we're gonna talk about, Ghosts Inside. Not a bad album in their discography, but I feel like it gets to a point in their discography where it all kind of starts sounding the same to me. And it's kind of like, okay, you know, and I just kind of wonder, yeah, how much further Fleshgod is going to be able to go or not. But well,
I could see that.
let's
Especially they put themselves in this line of,
right,
we do death metal and we do this symphony operatic thing,
right. Mm,
and we kind of ride the line between the two. And you're not giving yourself a lot of room to grow. You can move a little
right,
more this way, a little more this way, but you're kind of in that groove. So I agree.
right,
I don't know how far they can take it, but I'd be interesting to see that next album.
right. I mean, you got. Let's see here. Check out how many. You've got 178,431 monthly listeners. Now, we've talked about, me and Josh have talked about it before. I don't know. Spotify, I feel like probably is more of an American thing. So I think when you get some of these Canadian bands or bands from across the sea, you think, oh, they don't have very many listeners. But it's like, I don't know if that's Spotify is much of a out of America type thing, you know. You know, Italy may have their own streaming service musically or whatever, but um, I mean, it seems like they're at this point where it's like they're not like struggling, you know, for support, but they're not like, you know, at the peak of the mountain, you know, or whatever. So they may be able to just kind of like ride this to the very end. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not.
Well, and within the death metal community,
Mm,
you got your ride or die guys. And I
right.
imagine
And
this
that's
band's got
true.
a lot of ride or die guys,
That's
which is
true.
nothing to say bad about those fans. I've got my fandoms that I'm ride or die with. So not throwing any shade on that at all, because that's just your thing and go for it, dude. But like I said, it's not. I don't really see there's room for change or growth.
Right.
You've got your thing, you do your thing, and as long as you like doing it, as long as people still like you doing it, go for it. I
Go for it.
no problem with that at all. I do have some notes if you want to hear about the different albums, kind of what I was thinking as we were going through them.
Yeah, sure. Let's hear.
So the OG Oracles vocally kind of made me think of Amon Amarth, those deep, low type stuff. At times, and I don't know if it was just the mix or the headphones I had, or I don't know, gave me little twinkles of early Bring Me the Horizon.
Okay.
Some of his
Yeah, oh,
lows.
gosh. Yeah.
Again, talking about screaming the gnarliest, back in the day. It gave me little hints and twinkles of that. And I was like, okay, I could go for that. The music does have some orchestral bits and pieces, but not a lot in that one. You move on into Agony. Gave us some cleans in this one. I didn't know what to do with those at first. It kind of scared me. Definitely more didgeridoos or something going on.
Oh my.
They're kind of, I can definitely feel Agony is moving on into what they later become. Labyrinth starts to embrace the operatic portion a little bit more. They're getting into some concepts. I think Labyrinth and King both have pretty solid concepts.
Concepts, yep.
And they're not concepts like Shane told concepts, where it's like a concept about a concept with a sprinkle of concept here and there. No, they're actually, we got the labyrinth, we got the mythology behind it, we got this, that, and the other thing. With King, you've got the stuff that a king would be doing, all the way, including some very uncomfortable
political
song
stuff,
names that talk about
syphilis.
Yeah, there you have it. That's the one I was thinking about.
You've got syphilis. Oh my.
The orchestral versions on King are pretty good too. I enjoy those. But as a whole with King, they did polish what they already had going in Labyrinth. So, by the way, I do like their names of their albums. They're all very short and to the point. Oracles, Agony, Labyrinth, King. What are they about? Let me tell you.
Oh, Labyrinth.
Lay it out.
What's this one about? A king.
So, I didn't write anything about the the one with the crazy looking elephant on the front. We just mentioned it a minute ago.
Valeno.
Yeah.
Yeah. That album artwork makes me think
pretty good.
Yeah, it makes me think of Norma Jean's Meridial. Kind of that crazy animals. So what's going on, man?
Whatever's going on. Yeah.
There's a man being birthed out of an elephant, or is an elephant being birthed out of a man?
Well, why not both? So anyway, it's another good one. Overall sound is still pretty similar where King was. So I didn't really feel like I need to write a whole bunch about that. But I mean, it was good. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed that one as well. I enjoyed King a little bit more, I think, because I had the orchestral versions of everything, which I dig it. I mean, I like it.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
So anyway.
Well, you ready to do
we'll
some favorites? Yeah, let's do some favorites.
I did kind of spoil that first one. The album is King.
What?
And I was kind of, I was kind of thinking kind of the same way as it's probably got the sound I like best, plus the orchestral, the instrumentals at the end. They do it for me. I enjoy them.
Nice.
Lyrics. Let's see. This one is from Absinthe. And I don't know, did you know what absinthe even is?
No. Should I be scared?
It is a drink. It's a green drink. Wine and spirits. It was a spirit.
Oh, okay.
And it was related to people having hallucinations and sometimes psychotic episodes or breaks even.
Oh my. Oh dear.
So it's a pretty it's been banned in most countries from what I was reading about it anyway.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, probably rightfully so. So anyway, that is from that song. We got The Compass Points to Hell. I will stand by your side. I spin the spiral of distress. Come, drink the night. Can you hear the sound of the death knell? Gently harmonize your cry. Life is a sip. I guzzled it all. So, time has come to die. Doomed is your existence. Superfluous living thing.
I thought you were going to do it in
They
Italian.
are. I don't even know any Italian words.
Ciao.
Gondola.
All I know is you got to do. You got to make this.
Gotta
I
do
feel
this,
more
yeah.
Italian, man. Oh boy.
Cannolis, gondolas. Roma tomato.
Godfather. It's a family business. Oh boy. We love it.
Anyway, and
We
that
don't
song
hate
does
it.
go into something. I can't remember the exact lyrics to what it was, but it was talking about something that was green, and this drink was apparently very green in color with whatever it was made of.
Okay.
So
okay.
when it says life is a sip and I guzzled it all, we're drinking this crazy drink and we're having ourselves some visions. So it was a pretty cool theme to that song. So that might explain what's going on the album cover of that Valeno as well.
True. That's true.
We're having a vision of an elephant.
Bad trip. Bad trip.
So yeah. Anyway, I thought that was really interesting.
Nice.
One thing about death metal as a whole, their lyrics are not dumb. Like you get into
no, they're
pop
very
punk or you get
sophisticated.
yes, typically they are very sophisticated. Like that, I can't even hardly say the silly word. Superfluous living thing. Yeah, I can barely say it. And he's sitting here screaming at the top of his lungs. I'm like, oh man.
What the heck did you just say? Superfluous.
So anyway, getting into my favorite songs.
Yes.
You ready for number 3?
Number 3.
This one comes from King. It is In Atrium.
Very nice. Very nice. I enjoyed. Well, I'll say it afterwards. Carry on.
That was actually Kansas. Definitely not Fleshgod.
You don't know that one? They covered that song, bro.
Oh wow! I bet it's pretty interesting.
Number 2.
Anyway, number 2. I went with again on King, Gravity.
Ooh, nice. Very nice.
Those songs are they really pick up on both of those. When they hit on the album, it just perks my ears. I'm like, whoa.
Like a dog. Huh? What's happening?
Potato chip bag? Huh?
Oh man.
And this last one, number 1.
Number 1.
After all I was saying about it just a second ago with the lyrics and all, probably no big surprise, but I really like Absinthe from Veleno.
Nice.
I quite like that song, actually.
Very nice. Yeah, the song that always sticks out to me when I think of Fleshgod is off of King, and it's And the Vulture Beholds. It's the song that's right after Paramore. That's just that kind of chilled out female-led song. And once she ends it, I mean, it's like it goes straight into And the Vulture Beholds, dude. And I remember listening to the first time, and I told Josh, I said, that song came on, and it was just like, da, 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 da. I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening?
Face is melting.
Dude, it was so good. That mixture of like the band, the orchestra, and the choir was just like, this is like straight out of a freaking movie, bro. It was so good.
Wall of sound.
Yes,
it's there.
Wall of sound for sure. Here it comes. Oh god. Yeah, that's man. Anyway, final thoughts on the band known as Fleshgod Apocalypse.
I didn't know if I was going to enjoy this one or not. Uh-oh. We are conducting. Oh, I see. Thought he was having a seizure or something. I couldn't tell.
No, I'm conducting. Which it's funny because I didn't even I should have asked you, did you find yourself listening to this band and conducting the band?
Maybe a little at times. I think, I don't remember if he's you or Josh said on the first episode, I think everybody wants to be a conductor.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, he fully admitted to it. He's like, "Oh yeah, on the way to work, bro, I'm over there driving." He's like,
Just
"Come on, breathe up." You got
imagine
to,
the
bro. You
stoplight.
got it.
What is that guy doing?
The heck is happening over there?
Is he okay? Okay.
Oh man! Wait. Let's do that again. Because on my side, it looks like you're looking over at me, so that's hilarious, and that's how it's gonna be coming through the recording. So let me get this music queued up here. Yeah, pulling up to the stoplight. We're good. It's only gonna work on YouTube, so you better go check it out on YouTube. And here we go. You see me, I know you do. Oh my. Anyway, final thoughts on the band known as Fleshgod Apocalypse.
If you want to let out your inner conductor, listen to Fleshgod.
That's perfect, man. That is perfect.
But anyway, it actually is pretty good stuff. If you do like metal, death metals, any of that kind of stuff, and you happen to occasionally listening to, say, orchestras and things like that, this band actually blends both really well together. It's not something that you expect to work just off the bat, like, oh wow, what? But it really does work, and it's worth a shot. So, and if you don't like that, go back to that first album, Oracles, and you get yourself some technical death metal, and that's actually a decent album too.
I agree. Unfortunately, we did not have it in the budget to rent tuxedos for this episode, but what you gotta do? Make sure to follow us on Twitter at @IsSurviveByPro for news and the latest episode postings, not just on this show, but our other shows as well. We have the History of the Chorus podcast, where me and Josh take a band from the chorus genre and we dissect it. What's going on in there? We look at the history and all of this the discography from a band from the core genre. We also have the Red Right Hand podcast, which has covered all 6 seasons and eventually a movie about the Netflix/BBC hit show, The Peaky Blinders. And we also have the Throne of the Dragon podcast, which has covered season 1, currently covering season 2 of HBO's House of the Dragon. Also, while you're on Twitter, make sure to follow my co-host at Joshua Lynn Gary. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review and write us a comment on whatever podcast service you're using. And if you want to listen to us and see our smiling faces, head on over to our YouTube page. Just search Is Survive By Productions, and that'll have every episode from all of our shows. Subscribe to the channel and thumbs up the video. Alrighty. Till the next episode, where we're talking about the band from Louisiana known as Cities Burn. We'll see you.